first time ever, Phoenix has a citywide service plan to coordinate volunteers throughout the valley. Hello, I'm Deborahs Dugan, and welcome to another City Update. After receiving a $100,000 grant, Phoenix has put a program in place to maximize the volunteer impact right here in the city. Here to talk about the new plan is Michael Hammett. Now, Michael is the Chief Service Officer for the City of Phoenix. Michael, welcome.
Thanks, Deb. It's great to be here.
Well, you have such an unbelievable background. I want to focus first about you and what you have brought and are bringing to the city. Tell me a little bit about your background.
Well, Deborah, I started in media. I started at Channel 3. I worked at Channel 15. I did freelancing for Arizona Republic, and ultimately I ended up freelancing for Phoenix TV.
That's right,
and,
you did.
which was a great experience, and that was sort of my entry point into the city of Phoenix. I had never really thought about a career at the city, and so when an opportunity came about to be a public information officer, I joined the city in that capacity, and ultimately serving for the council offices as the public information officer. And that led to my current role as Chief Service Officer.
Yeah, that's an unbelievable background that you bring to us, so we're so grateful to have you here in the city. Now, the city actually started the volunteer program about 2011 or so, but it's nowhere where it is today. So give me a little history and then talk about today.
Well, the first citywide volunteer program at the City of Phoenix was in about 2011-12, and that was a program. Really, the idea was to bring together all of the city volunteer efforts into one location, to make it a streamlined process for onboarding volunteers and then activating volunteers within the city and with city volunteer programs. Cynthia Aguilar was in that role. She did an amazing job building the foundation, which was a lot. I mean, putting together a volunteer website, recruitment software, and getting everything up and running. And recently, we've had a chance to transition that to this new position.
So talk about the grant and how, and fast forward to today, I mean, the difference from when it started 2011-12 and where we are today and the impact it really has on the city overall.
Well, I have to say, really, a lot of the movement that we've seen is with Cities of Service and our partnership. And in last year, we were honored to receive a $100,000 grant from Cities of Service, and that was to create a Chief Service Officer position and develop a citywide service plan. Two other cities were chosen, Detroit and Miami. We feel like we're in really good company, and we had the chance to work together with those cities as well in developing our plan, and they were developing their plan.
So you also have an advisory council that help you implement as well to the plan. What's the makeup of those folks? Well,
that's a great question, and it was critical actually, because what we wanted to do was, it's not about the city doing everything, and it's not about the city taking control. It's about all of us coordinating and working together. So that advisory committee was made up of city deputy level folks from neighborhood services, the parks department, other key departments, as well as our partners in the community. Rhonda from Hands on Greater Phoenix. We had Cindy from Keep Phoenix Beautiful, Terry from LISC, our organizations, Jason from Valley of the Sun United Way, brought everyone together and said, let's do this together and let's create a plan that serves everyone, and ultimately it serves the people of the city, and that's what it's all about, working together.
Absolutely, the community. All right, now let's talk about some real live people and real live examples, because you are making a difference in our community. You have your big programs, and then you have your smaller programs. Give me some highlights of some of the bigger programs, like with the libraries or the neighborhood revitalization.
Well, the library has a very robust volunteer program, and they have volunteer liaisons in city libraries across the city, and so they're recruiting volunteers to do literacy training, to do reshelving of books, to do outreach for homeless, all sorts of things at the library. And they are using our volunteer tool, Samaritan software, and that's a way to recruit volunteers from the community, and again, place them into activation in city departments. One other example is the VITA program, and that is in human services. For a long time run by Briselda. Briselda has done an amazing job in recruiting great volunteers. They have hundreds each year that come in to prepare taxes for low-income members of the community who qualify for the earned income tax credit, and that actually brings $6 million back to the city.
Wow.
And as you know, Deborah, because you've done many stories, when you spend money in the city, programs in the city are funded, and parks, libraries, all of that. So that program, $6 million back to the individuals, but ultimately to the community.
And some of these volunteers could be retired accountants, or maybe somebody who dabbled in accounting, or somebody who just wants to give back to the community. And I'm sure they're vetted very carefully too, especially if somebody's going to be doing your taxes.
And they're trained, so they're all
Absolutely.
trained, and then they become certified tax preparers, and that can be a volunteer to employment opportunities where they can take what they've learned and go elsewhere and actually, work for other organizations.
Absolutely. So there's services, there's resources, that all this giving back with the volunteers are helping us. But talk about the neighborhoods and the revitalization with the planting of the trees or maybe painting a wall. A lot of that's happening too, the beautification here that we see in the city.
Well, as you know, we have the Neighborhood Services Department, and they are out in the community every day, every weekend, and doing amazing work, and volunteers really power a lot of their programs. We have a program that was funded through Cities of Service called Love Your Block, and that was started, we're in our third year now, and that was to create a mini grant program to provide grants, $1,000 a piece, to neighborhoods to do projects that they believe they need in their community. Community gardens, murals, tree plantings, things that align with the citywide service plan in terms of what the priorities are in the city. So it's city priorities and resident priorities, ultimately the same thing.
There are literally hundreds and hundreds of volunteer opportunities within the city. I mean, for every department, I'm sure.
Amazing.
It's amazing. So what would you say is probably a really unique volunteer opportunity that people may not know about, and they're like, wow, that's a volunteer opportunity for the city? Can you name one or two?
That is another great question, because there's something for everyone here. And honestly, when we did this citywide service plan, we went and did a landscape analysis. I had been working for about a year in the program, so I knew a lot of what was going on. I'd been working with the liaisons every day. But the more you dig, the more you find that there are interesting opportunities. A couple of new opportunities that are really unique. Obviously, we have the navigators at the airport. Critical. Rachel Brannon does an amazing job running that program, and they have about 150 navigators who
The
are
purple jacket people.
Purple jacket people, and they are the face of the city as people are coming in. They're oftentimes the first smile people see as they enter our city, and the folks are named appropriately because they help people navigate the airport and beyond. We have a new program at court, at the Phoenix Municipal Court, where there will be volunteers at the front to help people navigate the court system. When people come in, it may be the first time they've come in with an issue that they need to deal with, and they're not sure where to go. They may be a little nervous, and these volunteers, it's a brand new program, will help them have a better experience.
And just navigate to the whole court system in itself. Community response team for Phoenix Fire is also totally volunteer. And a lot of people may not realize that too when they go for urgent kind of situations. So you've been in this position now for a bit, and what would you say is your kind of proudest moment that you really think, wow, we are really making a difference here in the community?
Honestly, it's seeing the volunteers out in the community, and also our AmeriCorps Vista members. And those are national service members that come for a year. They dedicate their time in organizations and the city to help low-income communities. So we right now have 5 through our partners at Cities of Service and Hands on Greater Phoenix.
And they work with you directly. They're part of your team for the city.
Yes, I directly supervise 4 of them. 1 is in our Human Services Department, but we oversee all of them. They all work together. They're typically right out of their undergrad, and they're just incredible. Their dedication, their fresh focus on the community. It's great because the city staff has been wonderful. Folks in neighborhood services and parks working with these young folks, but we also listen to them because they bring great ideas to the table.
Sure.
It's a back and forth, and those AmeriCorps Vista members work with our community members, our volunteers and residents, to create the vision that they see for their community.
Well, Michael, I just want to thank you, and I'm so grateful for all the things you do here for the city. And I want to point out to our residents and to our viewers, there are 45 city volunteer programs, 21 city departments, 46,000 participants, 600,099 hours were served last year alone, for an estimated value of $15 million. That's a lot of money, folks. Those are taxpayer dollars being saved by all the work that's being done by our volunteers. Michael, thank you again so much for being with us. We are so very grateful and indebted to all of your service here for the city of Phoenix.
Thank you, Deb.
Absolutely. Now, to learn more about the hundreds of exciting service opportunities, you can visit phoenix.gov/volunteer. For City Update, I'm Deborah Cedillo Dugan.